The University of Texas is now under attack from Republican leaders after their faculty council approved a resolution defending professors who teach critical race theory.
In tonight's Crisis in the Classroom report, CBS Austin's Christian Flores joins us live in the studio with why classroom issues have become such a large part of politics now. Christian?
Well, over the last year, Republicans have really amped things up when taking aim at the classroom, particularly with topics like the teaching of critical race theory, to the point where it has now become rare to find one of these politicians' platforms that don't include banning this academic movement. However, one political expert tells us this might not move the needle too much come election time.
I think it's important to say it.
Kossie Huff is one UT professor thrilled that the faculty council approved a resolution supporting professors teaching critical race theory. She thinks it's important people understand what this even is in the first place, with so many politicians crying foul over its teaching.
A couple big parts of it are, looking at how pervasive racism is, not from the individual standpoint or labeling people as racist, but thinking about the systems that we have in place that perpetuate racism in the United States today.
It did not take long for Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick to sound off on the UT decision, firing off this tweet, calling professors there loony Marxists and promising to ban these teachings at the public university level after already shepherding a new state law doing so at the K through 12 level.
They're just trying to stir the pot and really, appeal to their base and try to stir up a lot of fear.
But this pot stirring might not help cook up more votes for Republicans railing against this academic movement. A new poll revealed 50% of voters opposed limiting teaching materials that emphasize racism in U.S. history, compared to only 37% in support.
There are some pitfalls there. They've gotten some nibbles about, on this from some Republican voters, particularly ultra-conservative voters. But they're not getting as much support among more mainline Republican voters.
Still, with some school board meetings filled with screaming parents against critical race theory, it seems unlikely politicians will relent.
Why teach some of these things when it does create such an outrage, not just with politicians, but you definitely have parents. I mean, you see these school board meetings.
Kids of color who are really young are already aware that they're treated differently. It's important to acknowledge it and talk about it so that things can change in the future.
And we reached out to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick to see if he wanted to elaborate on his opposition to this resolution from UT and ask him if he's opposed to teaching some of these core tenets like how historical racism has its footprint in systems today, but we never got a response. State lawmakers need to be in session in order to expand the current law banning the teaching of critical race theory. It's unlikely Governor Abbott calls a special session just for this, which means this would likely be taken up in January when the 2023 regular session begins. Reporting live in the studio, Christian Flores, CBS Austin News.
Thanks, Christian. If you have a tip for our Crisis in the Classroom team, we want to know about it. You can call us at 512-522-5788 or send us an email at cbsaustin.classtips@gmail.com. Please be sure to include all of your contact information and the topic.